Hi and welcome to the video. As you can tell, I'm suffering a little bit from snotitis, otherwise known as a common cold, not any other form of allergy past the lateral flow test, thankfully. What have I been up to this week? Well, I've made up some drill jigs for the aluminium pieces which go onto the wings, as there's a lot of them and I wanted the pilot holes to be something which would be fairly close together to allow me to get matching sets to work for the wings and an accurate build. I also finish off the Aileron bearings, which I started in the last video, so you'll be able to see that at the end of this one if you haven't seen it already. What else have I been doing? Well, I've been looking at plans, specifically to try and work out how the upper wing tanks, which is an optional extra for the Youngster, can be fitted. There is some details which I've had sent to me on how they can be put into the top wing, and I'm not 100% sure that I'll go along with that setup. It's not a set drawing as a sort of normal fit for the Youngster, so whether it's an option that's not normally taken up or for whatever reason, I don't know, but the tanks I think are the same as they fit to other aircraft. So there's going to be a little bit of planning and work around on that. Probably once I've got spars and ribs I can dry fit together to actually see how things might mesh. And then you're probably wondering, no great unboxing for the kit. Still hasn't arrived yet. According to the tracking, it still hasn't arrived at Southampton, although it should have done about 4 days ago. So whether it's a bit slow at the docks at the moment unpacking the containers to find and register that it's actually here in the UK. Once it's been unpacked, I'm assuming it's going to take about 4 or 5 days with the current transport system around the UK, with trucks to bring things out to deliver to me. It's a big box, about 14.5 feet long, 3 feet wide and 2 feet deep, or something around that sort of size. And according to the shipping ticket, it weighs more than the complete aircraft does. So I don't know what Fisher make the crate out of, but it's got to be a good strong one by the sounds of it. Hey ho! Anyway, let's have a look at the video. Hi and welcome to the channel. In these videos I show my build of a Fisher Youngster biplane kit, and it's not meant to be instructional, but it's meant for you to have a bit of entertainment seeing how I go about building this aircraft, and hopefully get a few hints and tips that might help you out to build your own aircraft. Let's face it, if I can do it, you can do it. As I said in the last video, I was going to make up some drilling jigs for the aluminium straps for the wings, which hold the wings onto the fuselage or the interplane strut side. So I've got a piece of 2mm thick mild steel, 3/4 of an inch wide. The aluminium pieces are 1 inch wide, but it shouldn't make any difference for the purpose of this drilling jig. And the idea is that I'll be able to drill holes, pilot holes, accurately into each one repeatably, so that it makes life that little bit easier to do that finish matching later. You see I've got one end is squared off. That's the master end, so for all the measurements going off this way. This end is rounded because it's non-critical. This piece is about 7 inches long, and it's for AW2 and 3, I think. I'll just confirm. No, sorry, AW3 and 4. It's for AW3 and 4. So the holes should be along the centre of the aluminium, which is 1 inch wide. So I'm just going to set up my odd leg calipers to 1/2 inch. I can then run a score line along I don't know if that'll show up on the camera, but I've got a score line in the engineer's blue. I've always liked making my my lines as faint as I can, really, just so I can see it. So the first mark in from the end will be 1/2 inch. So interesting. So 1/2 inch. Then the next one is 1.5 inches in from there. So rather than doing the 1.5 inches, I will go 2 inches. I'll just put a little mark, and then we've got 3.5 inches. So for the next position to there, so we get that right, that should be 5.5. And then we've got for the other one, we'll go to the 6.5 mark. So these two holes, one is for AW3 and the other is for AW4. These two holes here are common between the two, or will be common between the two. So just using my square just to make sure I've got mark, looks good. Yep, so these are the ones I've actually marked on the line, so I'll make sure that's right. I now need to punch, centre punch this, ready for drilling. So out comes the tool. I can sight down. I'm going to use the obtuse punch for this, going into steel. I'll do all 4 of these, the all in one go, might as well. Note I only hit the punch once. It's not good practice to hit it more than once, especially with this. You'd have to double check that it was actually aligned, just in case it bounced out of position. But it is a habit I see a lot of people do, is where they sort of tap things sort of a couple of times. Just strike it the once. So there we've got our 4 centre punch marks. I'll now set you up a bit so you can sort of see the drilling. Again, a little bit of a jig to make sure that all of these are at the same height, so they're all in a nice neat row, set up on the pillar drill. So I'll show you that now. Okay, so I've got a V block set up here, drilling board for it to drill down onto. Get the safety glasses while I do drilling. Set the drill speed is at the correct speed. This is a 3.2mm drill bit, 1/8 inch. And I'll continue and drill the other holes out. You can sort of see I've got, this is acting as a fence, so this is set at the same distance away. So the holes are on the line all the way along, so that would be nice and straight. It should be, as I said, allow each piece to come out as near to identical as we can make it. So all the holes drilled, I've taken off most of the engineer's blue. Next thing to do is to heat this up. I'm going to heat it up to just short of red hot and then quench each end into water. That'll harden it. Hopefully it won't distort too much. It rarely does. And that way will be hardened enough so that when we drill through, we shouldn't wear it out in the period that we're dealing with. So I'll just heat this a lot up, and then you can see what happens. Could do with a bit of a bigger blow lamp, to tell you the honest truth. There we are, coming up to dull red. That's now relatively hard. Now I've got a drill jig. I'll now mark this up, and so I know which holes are for which component using a paint pen. So there are the two set up. We've got the one that does AW1 and AW2, and the one that does AW3 and AW4, and I've just colour marked so I know which holes are for which one. When I actually come to use it, I'll actually put masking tape over the hole which is not to be in use. So there we have the 4 aileron bearings, the 2 inner and 2 outer ones, all identical, with the bearings pressed in place. They seem to be lovely and smooth running. If at some point I decide I don't like those type of bearings in there, I can always change it over to phosphor bronze bushings in the future, or again exchange over for the Lexane should I so desire. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.